Hi, guys. Welcome back to the Wellness Wednesday show here on the Lotus Lounge podcast. It's your girl, Umabee. And tonight I have one of my favorite streamers. Her name is Thick Milkshake on the Plenty of Fish app. And she is here to talk about letting go and letting in. Thick, welcome in.
Thank you for having me.
I'm so excited to talk about this topic because I feel that there's so much going on. First of all, for those of you that don't know, I am on a streaming app called Plenty of Fish. We are breaking away from the Meet Me app, letting go. And then we also have started a new year. So a lot of people have to let go of the old year. And then we also have, we've had breakups. I've seen a lot of people, a lot of my friends are breaking up with people. Again, another message about letting go. So Thick, I'd like to hear what your thoughts are about the importance of letting go and why we need to pay attention to it.
The importance of letting go is so important so you do not hinder your spirit. If you allow for things from your past to come into your present, think about it like taking out the trash. If you have rotten fish in that trash bag and you take it out to the curb, but for some reason you don't leave it all there because you didn't realize that the bag is dirty. So you get that scent on your hands. And when you leave the trash out there and the trash man comes to pick it up, but you don't properly wash your hands, that scent is going to stay with you. And so everywhere you go in life, you're going to smell like fish. So if you use the proper things in order to cleanse yourself and free yourself of that trash, then coming into the future, you can be renewed and refreshed and restored. And a lot of people need to remember it's time to take out the trash. There's nothing in there that you need. There's no leftovers that you need to survive. And sometimes you just need to start over.
Why do you think it's so hard for people to let go? Because a lot of times, let's just look at in the world of love and relationships, right? People know this is not a good person for me. They don't treat me right. They don't take care of me. They don't honor me. I need to go. But why is it still such a hard thing to let go?
Oh my goodness. Letting go is so difficult because sometimes all we know is toxicity. Sometimes we don't know how to function without that trash, that stench in our home. Sometimes when we expose ourselves to something new, it's uncomfortable. Have you ever heard of the saying that people are afraid of succeeding? When all you know how to do is fail and make mistakes, you're comfortable. You know what that feels like. But when you actually get the opportunity to succeed and opportunities present itself, it's terrifying for some. So it's important for us to remember that change is good, but change can sometimes hurt. And what I mean by that is sometimes when you come to the realization that some people are just not good for you, well, that's just it. You have to close the gap. You have to make that circle smaller. You have to pull the weeds in order for your garden to grow. Does that make sense?
That makes a lot of sense. One time I like to tell this story. Some of you probably have heard it, but I was at a gas station bathroom, right? And I saw on the wall this girl wrote, and it stayed with me. This is like over 20 years ago. But she said, "It hurts so much that you're gone. It's like you never left."
Mm.
And that just makes me think about what you're saying, right? Sometimes we get used to the toxicity that we have in our lives. And then even though we're doing better for ourselves, we can't see that we're doing better, right?
Correct.
And
And we don't give ourselves enough time or enough credit to give us praise for the changes that we are making. Because you have to remember that a lot of people have people in their lives that are scorekeepers. We can be doing well, but if people don't see us for a period of time, then they look at you like, nah, she hasn't changed. That's the same milkshake. No, she's never going to do that. You can't tell me that she's doing that. And what they do is they keep throwing dirt. They keep throwing dirt on you And they try to make you fail because why? They try to create insecurities. And
Right.
this is why you have to get those people out of your life. It's a new opportunity for you to be able to make new friends. And unfortunately, sometimes you have to do a lot of this stuff on your own in order to find yourself.
Wow. So Ami7044 on Plenty of Fish said, I have trouble letting go. I agree with you, Ami. It's not easy. And then one thing I've noticed is I feel like we are creatures of comfort, right? Could we talk about that? About what is this about us wanting to stay in our comfort zone?
Comfort, wake up, go to work, come home, go to sleep. Wake up, go to work, come home, go to sleep. If you enjoy existing in life, continue to wake up, go to work, come home, go to sleep. But if you want to live, live takes effort. You have to move. And in order to move, if I am here and I take one step and I'm here, I'm no longer in the same place. That takes effort. And sometimes it's not comfortable making change and transition. It's terrifying to move. Think about uprooting your family and having to move all of a sudden. And you're looking over all these places. What do I do with all this stuff? But sometimes you need to get rid of stuff to make room for blessings, to make room for the new stuff. Remember back in the day when we used to drive our little old car that we barely could afford, but it was enough. It got us to and from work. But then that day came when our blessings, all of that hard work that we did, now it's time to get a new car. And we're excited, but then we find out that the insurance is $100 more a month. But we've earned it. And it's going to be a little uncomfortable because you're going to have to adjust your budget. But once you just make those minor changes, everything's going to fall into place. Don't get comfortable being complacent because 5 years from now, you're going to be sitting in that same chair, watching that same TV show while the world is growing and leaving you behind.
You know, that makes me remember something. In my business, I'm an entrepreneur. I own a metaphysical wellness center. And of course, like any business, right? In the beginning, it's you're barely breaking even, right? You're not making any profits. And then after a while, you start to hit your stride. And I remember that year specifically, it was 2017. I started my business in 2009. 2017, I was rich. I was rich. And I remember then that when it came time to do taxes, my accountant explained to me how much I'm going to have to pay. And it was a lot.
Right.
For like my chest falling, and she could see the look on my face. And you know what she said to me? She said, Uma, you have to come face to face with the facts that you have changed tax brackets. You physically did it. Now you have to mentally get on board with that concept. And yes, you're going to be paying, say 10K a year in taxes, but look at how much you're making. It's a mindset switch. Don't you feel that that's what people have to go through when they make up their mind, I'm letting go, this thing, this situation, this job, this person is not for me. Wouldn't it come down to, you got to also change your mindset?
You do. And you have to believe in yourself. If you don't believe in yourself, who can believe in you? If you don't love yourself, who can love you? And you have to remember that we are all created with great purpose here on earth. Our lives matter. We're the only people in existence that have our own special DNA. No one out there is like me. I'm not like Uma. That means you were uniquely made for something amazing. But you have to be able to be honest with yourself because only you know your dirt, which means that you're the only one that knows how to clean your home. But once that home is clean and you look around and you say, it's like when you move into a new house, I'm ready for furniture. Come, let me show you this amazing place that I call home. And that starts with believing in yourself. And it's such an exhilarating experience. I remember, Uma, when I applied for my patents, and when they told me, oh no, you This is not a design patent. This is a utility patent, and you're looking at about $30,000 to get started.
Wow.
I remember, and my sister said, "You're such an idiot. You don't want to do this. You just got a dream, and this is silly." But I knew in my spirit that this is what I was supposed to do. And here we are, years later. And I have published patents, and it has been such a blessing to see how my products will change the way children learn. So I encourage each and every one of you that are out there that are dreamers, dream big, step out of your comfort zone, believe in yourself, spend a couple of bucks, and if you don't have it, save the money and invest in you, because I promise you the return that you get when you believe in yourself, it's priceless. And don't waste your time with people who don't want to invest in you either.
Ooh, don't waste your time with people that don't want to invest in you. I think that's going to be a struggle for a lot of people. For those of you that are watching live, right, Anomaly, whether you're watching on YouTube or Instagram or Plenty of Fish, right? Put a 1 in the comments if that really resonated for you, because I know that's like my theme for the year. I've just started checking a lot of people, right, Jamia? Yeah, I just been checking like a lot of people. Like, are you really here? You know what I've noticed, and think maybe you can speak to this. Not everybody that's in your circle is cheering for you. There are people in your circle that are secretly wishing for your downfall, that are secretly plotting against you, that are secretly wanting to see you fail, right? So when you start asking people to step up, if they don't want to step up, what does that say?
Right. Exactly. And you have to remember that as we succeed and as we go on in life, people will get left behind, and they're going to talk about you, and they're going to spread lies about you, and they're going to gossip about you. So always remain a person of integrity, because the one thing that no one can ever take from you is your integrity.
Thanks.
You can talk about me all you want, but those of you who know me, I'm good people. I am good people. I will never betray someone, or I'm never ever going to be spiteful. I'm not a kind of person that's malicious. And if anyone should ever say that I am, just come meet me. I'll prove them wrong.
That
And
that
you
is
should.
a fact. That is a real fact, because I've had a lot of people in my lifetime come through to me, meet me, and say to me, "Oh, wow, you're actually a nice person." And I was like, "Okay." And they said, "No, I just heard a lot of stuff about you, and you're not any of that at all." And I say to them, I say, "Thank you for taking a chance to get to know me." And I strongly believe, like, I get a lot of times too, maybe you get this happen thick, where people will come to you, especially in the streaming community, right? "Oh, I don't think you should associate with that person. That person's not a good person." How would you deal with situations like that? I, for one, tell people I stay out of it. If you got a problem with them, you got a problem with them. I don't have a problem with them. So respect that.
I let them know, thank you for sharing. And, and I also let people know that, I'm sorry that they had that experience with so and so. I have not had that experience, but I do appreciate you letting me know, so then I can be mindful if I see that type of behavior. You know what I mean? And so those are some of the things that I think is very important when it comes to the streaming community, when it comes to life in itself. If you have people that are going to talk about you, make sure they get the story straight. If you and I put everybody on notice and say, hey, listen, if you're going to put my name in your mouth, get the story straight. Because when you have people talking about you, that means your mouth, your name is out there. And if you have integrity, people will stand up for you. So just remember that.
That is a very true statement, because a lot of times when people talk bad about me, I have a lot of people that will stand up for me and say that, like, unapologetically. And she one time had this guy come and straight lie on me. He said he dated me, he had relations with me. I don't even know who this guy is. And I was kind of nervous that she was going to believe him because I was like, I really don't know this guy. But she was like, Uma, from the things he said, that's not you. And I know enough about you to know that that is not you. And you don't have to worry. I just checked him right then and there. And I said, that's the kind of loyalty I'm looking for. Could we talk about that? But before we get to that, I want to address Ami. Ami said, I saw my friend play his guitar at the club for the first time. He ignored me. That made me upset. Haven't seen him in over a year. He wouldn't say hi to me. That hurt me. What would you say to that? I feel you should be upset, Ami. I really do, because this is where I said again, we have to start checking people. If they do things that hurt us or hurt our feelings, we need to check them, right, Thick?
I am so glad that this was brought up. We have some amazing people in the audience, and I want to say thank you so much for allowing me to answer this question, because I had a similar situation happen. As I started growing as a streamer, we make friends and we get our people that are always constantly in our chat. But as you start to grow, your chat starts to move a lot faster. And unfortunately, I'm not quite skilled to let my eyes go and talk at the same time. I can barely remember my name. But someone said to me, I come into your stream, I gifted you, and you didn't even acknowledge me. We have a responsibility to always make sure that we show appreciation. And it's not always that easy. So I try to allow myself to take a moment, and I'm teaching myself some different methods because I have a hard time, because I struggle with ADD. I have a hard time staying focused on all different kinds of things. But I want to let people know, because of who I am, I appreciate you. I may not recognize you by name right then and there, but I want you to know that when I'm with you, when we are together, I appreciate you. And I'm sorry that when I was up on stage and I was singing a song and I had my guitar going and I didn't wave to you because my hands were both occupied. And maybe I was looking down when you walked in. And I'm sorry for hurting your feelings. I'm sorry for you not feeling validated, but you matter to me. And I will work on that to become a better person, to be more mindful of acknowledging those people who come to support me. And that's humbling for me, but I need that in my life so people can help make me better. I might get emotional. This platform has helped me to grow as a woman, as a business professional, and to see how many people are out here hurting, and to know that I have a voice that can penetrate into places that are dark, places that people have shut down. I have a responsibility to make sure that these people know, without you, I couldn't do this, and you matter, and I appreciate you. So for you, the gentleman who talked about his friend at the playing his guitar, reach out to him and let him know that thank you for allowing me to go to your show or whatever, because I'm pretty sure he didn't mean to hurt your feelings.
And if this is a part of a communication. I was talking to a friend today or yesterday. My friend was going through something with their significant other, and they didn't feel seen or heard. And I can't tell you guys how important that is, guys, for you to feel seen and heard. There is a healing component of just acknowledgement of your presence. I don't know what it is. I'm pretty sure it's metaphysical or esoteric in nature. But when somebody makes you feel seen and heard, it does something psychologically, physiologically to you. And I told my friend, I said, let your person know that you don't feel seen or heard. And the way they respond to you will give you all the answers you need. And sure enough, that my friend let the person know, and the person continued to make my friend feel not seen, not heard, and now not appreciated. And that's when she decided for herself, you know what, I'm going to make the cut, because I don't need to be in this situation. Which, by the way, kudos to my friend. I'll never name you, but I just respect you so much for having self-respect and self-love. And that's what I want to be around. I want to be around people who have self-respect and self-love, right?
Right. Absolutely.
He was, oh, okay. And he still didn't talk to me. Yeah, so Ami, that would not be a friend for me. Ami said that, the same person playing the guitar, she went up and the woman said, "Do you know her?" And he said, "Yeah," and then he still refused to talk to her. I'd keep it moving. I would keep it moving. So now is a good time for us to take some questions, some comments. If anybody wants to request the box on Plenty of Fish and come in and share a story or talk to us or ask questions, please do. We are talking about the importance of letting go and letting in. If you guys don't have questions, we'll move on to the second part of the conversation. We've talked about the importance of letting go. Now let's talk about the importance of letting in, because I don't know about you, Thick, but if I let go of a job or a habit or a thought or a person in my life, I'm not really ready to like welcome something new, right? So how do we allow ourselves to go with the flow of life and to keep moving on when you just kind of want to lay on the couch and not do anything?
Stop being afraid. Fear and anxiety will consume your life and it will trigger all kinds of things in your body: a headache, a backache, a leg cramp, nausea. Stop being afraid. What's the worst that can happen? You get your heart broken? You don't get the job? What's the worst that can happen? Maybe the worst is that you can be happy. Maybe the worst is you'll meet the person of your dreams. Maybe one day you'll get married. Stop being afraid. Stop being insecure about the what ifs, because what if the world explodes? Do we stop living? What if I can't make my rent? Are you going to get kicked out, or are you just going to get a late fee? Stop worrying about things that you have no control over. The one thing that you can do, though, is allow yourself to be a little vulnerable when it comes to relationships. I think with everything that our world has been through over the last 4 years, some of us have become hardened and selfish, and others have become very compassionate and understanding. And if you are a person that has allowed yourself to see that love is worth fighting for, love is worth taking the risks for, stop making all these rules that disqualify everyone. Throw the rule book out and say, "Hi, I'm Milkshake. You want to go grab some lunch?" And from there, allow yourself to explore the possibilities of something so beautiful that you could not even imagine how amazing it could taste.
All right, I saw somebody requesting the box. Please feel free to request the box again. I will let you in. I just wanted to wait until Thick finished that thought. Let's talk about vulnerability. Whew. That is such a hard thing to do. I feel like when we're younger, I'm 45, guys. I'm about to be 46 in a couple of weeks. And I find that like when I was younger, it was easier to be vulnerable. What is it about time, age that makes us more afraid of being vulnerable and less likely to open up?
Repeat the question one more time, please.
That, when I was younger, it was easier to be vulnerable. But I feel like as I get older, it's harder. Almost I have like a thick skin. Oh, well, Steve is on the opposite. He said it's easier now for him to be vulnerable than it was when he was younger. So I guess we have like different sides of this. Okay, Michelle said when you're young, all experiences are new. That's true. And after you get hurt, that's a possibility. And now you're like, I don't want to be as vulnerable. How can people, let's say we have people, right, that have a hard time opening up or being vulnerable because they've been hurt a lot. What do you have any recommendations or ideas of how people can increase their vulnerability? Right.
It depends on how vulnerable you're willing to be. So, if this is my heart and I have completely protected it because I've compartmentalized everything in life and the things that matter, my thoughts, my feelings, anything that is ever survived from childhood. The most important things are in this bottle. And inside of this bottle, I've now put the fortress, the cement walls, the rebar, the steel door, and there's a lock on it. What if you allow yourself to get to know someone and you say, here's my heart. It's been broken. It's been wounded. I have some deep, deep scars that at one time were severely infected and they've healed, but they are so tender to the touch. But if I give this to you, you can either give me life or you can give me death. But I'm choosing you. The power that you are giving that person when I hand myself to you in vulnerability, it will either be a beautiful thing or it will be a painful thing, but it will be a thing. And for me, I choose to be able to be vulnerable enough with my person to say, here I am, 50-year-old, messed up, divorced twice. But if you want to love me, then I'm going to let you. All of me, every broken piece of part of me, every scar, every broken bone, you get me. And I'm yours to lose.
I'm yours to lose. I had an ex-boyfriend say that to me one time. He said, I was yours and I was yours to lose, meaning that nothing could make him break up with me except me. And that was really, really deep. Um, Welcome in, everybody. We're having a Wellness Wednesday talk here on the Lotus Lounge podcast. We have our special guest from the POF app, Thick Milkshake. If you like what she's saying and you want to find out more about her, you can follow her on Instagram at Thick Milkshake, or you can also find her on the Plenty of Fish app. Come to live streams, look for her name, Thick Milkshake, and hit her with the fave. Do we have any questions in the audience that is watching live? I know you guys, some of you are listening to this on the recordings. Thank you for your subscriptions and following me on my Lotus Lounge podcast. But for anybody live, do you have any questions for Thick? Or if you want to jump in a box and share a story, let us know. Thank you for the gifts. We appreciate the support so much on the Plenty of Fish app. I think that I like what you're saying, and I want to add something about it. I want to add to the fact that with vulnerability, I'm a very vulnerable person now because I have decided to do better vetting about who I let into my life. Do you feel that we should be vulnerable, open, trusting, honest with everyone? Or do you think we should kind of, try to figure out who's really for us and do some vetting to figure out if they should deserve that?
The thing with the vetting process is it can be like interrogation. And some people can find interrogation to be offensive, and so they shut down. So what I do is I just want to spend time with you. Let's talk. Let's get to know one another. Tell me a bit about yourself. How are things with your family? Do you have children? And in time reveals all things. A person can only wear a mask for a period of time before it starts itching, before it starts becoming uncomfortable. And then they got to adjust it, and then they got to move it, and then they got to do this. But one day it's going to slip off. And when that day comes, I'll see the real them. Sometimes it's quick. Sometimes it can take years. I had a gentleman that I had made friends with here on this platform, talked to him for almost a year. And as time passed, I started seeing more and more things. It was perfect in the beginning, but then as I started to see him, I started seeing all these little pokes and little holes, and it's just these little things that I'm like, wait a minute, wait, what? And then all of a sudden, as I started to see things, my perspective, like my eyes became more attentive to that in which he said. And this is why we have to pay attention to not just behavior, body language, vocabulary. And as we're listening to these people, pay attention to how they talk. A lot of people in life are storytellers. They can still tell the same story, but people who lie Stories change a little bit, and they're tweaking it every once in a while. Pay attention, because the one thing is, the truth never changes. So when you're vetting, you could do your interrogation process and do your rules of engagement. I will not be with the man who's going to hit. I don't want to be with the person who does drugs, blah, 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 blah. But the stuff that's deeper beneath the surface, that's going to take time. And remember, there are master manipulators on these platforms. Be careful. Don't give your money away. Don't run off and get married. Take your time. Because if they're meant to be in your life, they're not going anywhere.
That's very true. We have a question from the audience. Welcome in, Brooklyn King. We are doing the Wellness Wednesday podcast show on the Lotus Lounge podcast. Hi, Lady Green. So a question from Jamia: how can I open up to being more vulnerable? That's a good question.
The question is, what makes you shut down? If you don't know what shuts the door, how are you going to open it?
That's a good.
So
What makes me shut down? Can I answer that? What makes me shut down are inauthentic people. I really like when I get around people and they say they're one thing, but then they start to show themselves as another thing. That shuts me down. I'm kind of like, who are you exactly?
Yeah, I'm not good with criticism when it comes to sarcasm and verbal attacks. Don't criticize me, teach me. Teach me how to become better. If there's something that I'm doing that you don't like or that you find that is offensive, sometimes people don't know that they're being that way. Sometimes people don't realize that your behavior is unacceptable. Because when you come from dysfunction, all you know how to do is act dysfunctional.
So Jamia said, I'm not vulnerable because every time I'm with someone, I end up getting hurt. Girl, I understand that. What would you say to Jamia? I understand that.
I would ask her, what are the things that led up to you feeling hurt? What are the things that led up to the hurt? It could be arguments. It could be him not being home. It could be that he wasn't paying attention to you. Maybe you're a person who likes to give gifts and he would never give you flowers on Valentine's Day. What are those things that created pain to where it hurt you? Because we have to remember something, ladies and gentlemen. A person can only hurt you if you give them the power to hurt you. And when we're vulnerable, we open up and I give myself to you. I'm giving you permission, but you also have the permission to pull it back. If they're not taking care of your needs, spiritually, mentally, physically, then you need to have a talk and say, listen, we need to have a talk about where we are and where we're going. So do you know what it was that created that gap where you started to separate?
So Jamia said, no open communication, feeling unwanted, sending mixed signals. I tell people all the time, if you're dating and you're getting mixed signals is a no for me. I could understand mixed signals maybe like the first month of talking, but if we're talking past a month and I'm still getting mixed signals, I gotta go. I gotta go. Happy New Year, King.
Have you ever been in a relationship, and I don't know if you've experienced this, where you're together, then you break up, they block you, they unblock you, they message you, they get together, they unblock you, they block you, then you're talking, you're like, maybe we can do this, and it's a block, 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 block. And you're like, what the hell is happening? Because what happens is it's one time where you forgive. Then there's a second occurrence, and you're like, well, wait a minute, are we really going to try this? But if you allow it to continue to go and go, you know what's happening? You're expecting to break up again. And so there's a difference between getting to know someone and they get scared. And then they see things that could remind them of somebody else from the past, and it makes them be a runner. I'm a runner. Unfortunately, this is something that I still need to work on, but I am a self-sabotaging runner. But the one thing that I've learned is that I let my person know I've been hurt in my past. When I get afraid, I run, because it's easier for me to sabotage the relationship and blame myself than to know that you hurt me. And so when we give someone the power to impact us and affect our emotions, ask yourself, how did it happen? Because I'm pretty sure, sweetheart, that you just haven't taken a moment to write it down. And I always recommend that people layer. So if you say hurt, what is hurt? Hurt feels betrayal. Well, let's describe betrayal. What does betrayal look like? They lied. They kept secrets. They weren't being honest about the checking account, and then whatever it may be. But then you're going to get down to the root cause, and the root cause is going to be something like, we had plans to buy a home, and instead of us saving that money, he went off and he bought a motorcycle, and he lied about it. So it comes down to our future was affected because we were putting that money away for something special, and he disregarded my trust because that was my money too, and he went off and did something else, and now I feel betrayed and I can't trust him. So when you have emotion, put the emotional feeling here, and I really need you to take a deep breath and think about it. Put that description of I felt hurt. What does hurt feel like? And use those adjectives and just keep going until you could really find out, what is it? And that's where healing begins.
I love that.
And it's hard.
So welcome in, guys. We're doing the Wellness Wednesday podcast. If you have any questions for Thick Milkshake or myself, please feel free to ask it now. We are recording to the Lotus Lounge podcast, and we're happy to have you guys here. I think this was a great topic for my first Wellness Wednesday show of the new year, because I have been seeing a lot of people have some hard times letting go of things that they need to let go of and welcoming in the new. And I feel like the biggest thing we want to tell you guys is that you have to trust in the process of life, right? You might think this thing, this job, this person, this situation is the most important thing to me. But when all the signs are there that this is not for you anymore, it is causing disruption in your life, it's causing you anxiety or worry or sadness or depression, it's time to go. And the biggest thing I can tell you guys is learn to fear less about the future, the unknown future, because like I said, with that bathroom writing on the wall, it hurts so much that you're gone. It's like you never left. It's like you never left. And sometimes we have to know when it's important to let go so that we can let in whatever new is coming. I want to do a big shout out to my guest tonight, Thick Milkshake. Thank you so much for being here. Please, for the recording, for the podcast, please let people know if they want to get in touch with you for further conversations or to follow you on social media. Please let people know where they can find you on social media so they can follow you.
I'm on all 3 platforms. You can find me at thickmilkshake_live. And I am so excited to get to know each and every one of you and look to see where the future is going to take us all together. Thank you, Uma.
I love that. All right, let me just go ahead and give me 1 second, guys.